Hey, YouTubers. Good afternoon. Brian Parker with the Brian Parker Group. Welcome back to Know Before You Owe. Today, we're going to talk about assets that you can use toward closing for your down payment and closing costs. Some are pretty granola. Some are pretty easy. Some you got to take a little bit of attention and time, an extra step to be able to use it. So let's just start, first of all, with any asset that we see in your bank accounts. It needs to come from documented, acceptable sources. And that means if we see large deposits that go into your bank statements that are not from your employer, or that we can put the appropriate paper trail on it from the things we'll talk about today. In other words, if it was mattress money and you put it in your bank account, you can't use it unless it has sat there for about 90 days. So we don't see that deposit going into a 2-month bank statement cycle. So right now, if you've got mattress money in a shoebox somewhere and that's going to be part of your down payment and closing costs, put it in the bank today and let it sit so it will be usable after we are not able to see that deposit in that bank account. So let's go through what is acceptable that can be easily ready right now today. Checking, savings, money market. I think most of us have them. We see it in your bank statements. That's assets for down payment and closing costs. Really nothing else needed as long as it's good seasoned money and everything with that. Most of us have some stocks, bonds, maybe some CDs, life insurance policies with a cash value. All that is fine as well. The process with that is we would have to see your stock statements, whoever you got your business with, your advisor and all that, the CD certificate, the life insurance, cash value from your insurance provider or whatnot. And then what you would have to do is you would liquidate that, and then you would get that into the checking account or whatever the account it is. We're bringing all the funds for your down payment and your closing expenses. So in that case, we're going to see the statements from your ABC E-Trade or whatever the name of your investor is. We're going to see you liquidate it and get that liquidation trail, and then we're going to have to see it into the bank account. Okay. There is a little step that you can avoid in that. We won't get into that today. When we're doing something one-on-one, I'll give you the advice on the avenue of least resistance, because that could be an option for you, but it may not. So we just won't even go there today, but there is just a way to avoid a little bit of a paper trail on that. 401k, you've got retirement. You can actually borrow from that. You can take a loan. You don't even have to liquidate it. You can take a loan for what you might be eligible for from your provider. You repay yourself out of your paycheck. You get that taken out of your 401k. You can put it directly into the checking account or whatever you're going to use, and that becomes viable sources. If your provider allows it, there's an extra little way that you can get that money usable without having to put it into your bank account. Not all providers will allow you to do it a certain way. We'll talk about that one-on-one as well if we get to that point, just to eliminate some of your paper trail. 401k, good. IRA, good. Same thing. Any retirement asset, depending on what you have, you can use all that. Gift funds. Gift funds are acceptable, but they have to come from the appropriate sources. And each loan program is a little different, but not too much from each other. So just a good rule of thumb is the most appropriate sources allowable are going to be parents, siblings, immediate blood relatives. And then what we do with that is we have you do a gift letter where they're gifting the money to you. They sign it, you sign it. They're going to have to provide a copy of their bank statement for some loan programs. Some loan programs, they do not. And then they can either write you a check for that, and you can put it into your bank account. They can wire it from their bank to your bank account, or they can also wire it from their bank to the closing agent or the title company for closing. And that eliminates some of the paper trail and makes your process a little bit easier. But if you are getting gift funds, don't run out and get it today. Talk to your mortgage lender and advisor before you begin that process to make sure you're getting everything done in the right manner. If you have other real estate, you're selling another house and you're going to get net proceeds from that, usable. You can sell that house in the morning, close the other house in the afternoon. We're going to get your closing documents. The attorney of the buyer that bought the property you're selling, they're going to wire those funds to the attorney or closing agent for the property you're buying. And actually, if you have anything left over from that, then the attorney you're using to buy your home, they're going to give you a difference back after closing for the remaining of your proceeds. Same thing if you're selling land, same process, whatnot, all usable assets. Now let's talk about things that can get a little more tricky to make sure you're getting the documents you need for the asset that you can use. You want to sell a car, a boat, a motorcycle, an RV. No problem in doing that. But you have to have a bill of sale. And if you do not have a bill of sale, we cannot use that asset. So you can Google bill of sale online, come up with something. There's all kinds of forms out there. You can write one up. You sign it. The purchaser signs it. You notarize it. No problem. You got to have a bill of sale. If you have jewelry, gold, silver, coins, collectible coins, those are all usable assets as well. But you cannot just sell that. Each one of those would have to be appraised. So if you've got a long lost family heirloom that you're selling, you got to take it to the jeweler and have it appraised. Okay. And we're going to need a copy of that appraisal certificate. Same thing if you're selling gold or silver. If you're selling collectible coins, you've got to take those and have that appraised before you sell the asset. And then when you sell those assets, put the money into the account that we're going to use for your down payment and closing expenses. And it's all usable assets. So number one, takeaway, mattress money, get it in the bank today. Okay. Number two, no large deposits that we cannot document that don't come from acceptable sources. And the one thing we didn't talk about, I think I've mentioned it in our prior video or two, is just in today's society with Venmo, Zelle, Cash Apps, all that, we watch that. And we got to see where that money comes from, especially if it's recurring on a regular basis and stuff like that. I would encourage you to be it's easy. I get it. My kids do it. I do it a little bit, when we're paying the people that come clean our house or whatever, but it can really muddle up your loan approval process. So I would just encourage you, if you use Cash Apps a lot, have a separate account you do that in so it doesn't get into the way of your funds that you would use for your home purchase and all that. I'm Brian Parker with the Brian Parker Group. Like my sweatshirt says, you belong here. I'm glad you're here. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. God bless you. Have a great day.